Picture this: police officers crack open a dusty old trunk in the basement of an abandoned house. And what they find inside doesn't make sense. There's no body. Instead, there's a young woman's handwritten journal, a necklace she never took off, and dozens of disturbing photographs no one could explain. That woman was Sarah Mitchell, the same Sarah who had vanished almost 1 year earlier without a single trace. This is a case that still haunts investigators to this day. And what makes it so unique, what makes it so chilling, is that the man police would later suspect wasn't a stranger at all. He wasn't hiding in the shadows. In fact, he had been right there, helping, smiling, pretending to care, while the whole town searched desperately for Sarah. Sarah Mitchell wasn't just another face on a missing poster. She was 28 years old, bright, kind-hearted, and loved by everyone who knew her. She worked at a small independent bookstore downtown. People described her as gentle, thoughtful, and maybe even too trusting. She loved sketching in her journal, calling her mom at night, and spending weekends with her best friend Leah. Sarah was the kind of person who made people feel comfortable. She never thought she was in danger until it was too late. Let's go back to the night it all started. It was a Friday evening. At exactly 9:45 p.m., Sarah was seen on security cameras locking up the bookstore. She smiled, waved goodnight to her coworker, and walked across the parking lot. At 10:05 p.m., she sent her best friend a text that said, "Home soon. I'll call when I get in." But that call never came. The next morning, Sarah didn't show up for work. That was unusual. Her friends started calling her, no answer. By Saturday afternoon, her car was still parked at the bookstore lot. Inside, detectives found her phone resting on the seat, her keys tucked in her bag. No broken glass, no signs of a struggle, just silence. By Sunday evening, her family filed a missing persons report. And from that moment, the clock was ticking. Every hour without answers made it less likely Sarah would be found alive. The investigation began quickly. Police scoured the area, knocked on doors, combed through security footage, and brought in search dogs. But here's where a critical mistake was made. Because there was no sign of forced entry, because Sarah's car showed no damage, investigators leaned toward the theory that she left willingly. Maybe she had gone to meet someone. Maybe she had needed space. That assumption cost them precious time. Days turned into weeks. Detectives interviewed Sarah's friends, co-workers, her ex-boyfriend, and her neighbors. Nothing. Nobody had a clear motive to hurt her. Sarah had no enemies. She wasn't in debt. She wasn't living a secret life. On paper, she was the perfect victim, and that made things even more confusing. But one name did surface early on: Mark Reynolds. He was a handyman in town. Friendly, helpful, always showing up when people needed repairs. He sometimes stopped by the bookstore, and more than once he offered Sarah a ride home when she stayed late. Police did question him. He cooperated, smiled, even volunteered to join the search efforts. With no solid evidence, detectives moved on. Weeks dragged by. The case grew cold. Posters with Sarah's picture began to fade on telephone poles. The media moved on to other stories. But Sarah's mother never gave up hope. She told reporters, "I feel her presence. I know she's out there." Still, nothing concrete came forward. And then, nearly 1 year later, everything changed. Police were searching an abandoned property just 3 miles from Sarah's bookstore. The house was falling apart, the windows boarded up, the floorboards rotting. Down in the basement, tucked behind a wall of debris, they found a large, locked trunk. When they forced it open, the air turned heavy. Inside lay Sarah's journal, its pages filled with fear. She had written about a man who kept appearing at the store around closing time. A man who made her uneasy. She wrote about feeling watched, about changing her routine. And in one entry, she even scribbled his name, Mark. Alongside the journal was her necklace, the one her mother had given her, the one she never took off. And then came the photographs, dozens of them. Sarah walking to work. Sarah leaving the bookstore. Sarah sitting in a cafe, unaware she was being watched. Someone had been stalking her for months. Investigators immediately turned their attention back to Mark Reynolds. And this time they dug deeper. On the surface, Mark was a kind handyman. But behind that friendly smile was a darker history. Years earlier, he had been served with restraining orders by multiple women. They described him as obsessive, unable to take no for an answer, following them around until they felt unsafe. His motive with Sarah? Obsession. Police believed she had rejected his advances, and instead of walking away, Mark's fixation turned dangerous. The evidence from the trunk connected him directly to Sarah's fears. But here's the haunting part. Even with the journal, the necklace, and the photographs, Sarah's body was never found. And without a body, prosecutors struggled to move forward. Was Mark their man? Almost certainly. Could they prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? Not yet. For Sarah's family, the discovery was devastating. Her mother broke down during interviews, saying, "We trusted him. He helped us search for her. And all this time, he knew." The betrayal cut deep. For the community, the case shattered the illusion of safety. Doors were locked earlier. Parents warned their children not to walk alone. The fear spread and it lingered. And yet, the biggest question remains unanswered. Where is Sarah? Did Mark hide her somewhere no one has ever searched? Did he have an accomplice? Or, though unlikely, could Sarah still be alive? That trunk gave answers, but it also raised even darker questions. To this day, the mystery of Sarah Mitchell's disappearance lingers. Investigators continue to revisit the evidence, hoping for one break that could close the case. But until then, the silence remains. So I'll leave you with this. What do you think happened to Sarah Mitchell? Did police miss their chance to catch the real culprit? Or was the truth staring them in the face all along? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this story chilling, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more real-life mystery stories that will keep you thinking long after the video ends.